Dear students, welcome to UGC EPG Pathashala on Human Rights and Duties. My name is Professor YSR Murthy. I am the Executive Director, Center for Human Rights Studies at the O.P. Jindal Global University. In this paper on national mechanisms for the protection and enforcement of human rights, we will take up today the module on National Commission for Safai Karamcharis. We have already seen the role of the legislature, executive, judiciary with regard to the protection and promotion of human rights. We have also seen the Paris Principles, the role of the National Human Rights Commission, the State Human Rights Commissions, the National Commission for Women, minorities, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and we have also examined the office of the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities. In this module, we will now take up the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis. What are our learning objectives for this module? What do we propose to achieve at the end of this lecture? Basically, you need to understand the practice of manual scavenging as well as have an overview of the challenges facing manual scavengers in India. You also need to assess the legislative initiatives taken by the Parliament to tackle issues surrounding manual scavenging, including the formation of the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis. This module also seeks to provide information to you on the background and functions of the Commission in the exercise of its mandate. And you need to learn the operational challenges faced by this Commission. Now, if you see, caste-based discrimination and social exclusion has many dimensions which affect the human rights of persons. A glaring feature of the system is the caste hierarchy it creates according to the purity of the role or the job one undertakes. In this respect, the most unclean job of cleaning dry latrines, also called manual scavenging, was for the class of people who still occupy the lowest rung in the social hierarchy and who, because of the nature of their job, are considered impure and unclean, leading to their social exclusion. In fact, manual scavenging has been one of the biggest evils of the Indian society, prevailing since several centuries. It is a facet of social exclusion which is quite unique to the caste system in the society, and it is linked to the practice of untouchability and the widespread atrocities meted out to the communities who have traditionally been forced to carry out this inhumane task. Persons engaged in manual scavenging are from a so-called lower subcaste of Dalits who have traditionally been excluded from all forms of activities which could have uplifted them. The wider perception that if they refuse to do such jobs, then who will do such unclean work, prevents the society from making conditions for their upliftment or for them or for their successive generations to escape from this heinous activity. Manual scavenging exists primarily because of absence of waterborne or pore flush latrines. The activity involves cleaning and carrying human excreta from dry toilets using a broom, a tin plate and a drum, often on their heads, for dumping at grounds and at disposal sites. In this process, they are exposed to the most dangerous forms of hazardous infections that affect their skin, eyes, limbs, respiratory and gastrointestinal systems. Since manual scavenging is an extreme form of untouchability, it is undoubtedly unconstitutional and even illegal. However, the societal prejudices and the lack of initiative to upgrade the sanitation in the country has led to a situation where even after almost 70 years of independence, this terrible practice persists. How is this illegal? Various legislations over the years have been passed to tackle the issue associated with manual scavenging besides this practice itself. Section 7A was inserted in 1976 in the Protection of Civil Rights Act of 1955, which provides that whoever compels any person on the ground of untouchability to do any scavenging shall be deemed to have enforced a disability arising out of untouchability and thus punishable with imprisonment. However, manual scavenging was specifically prohibited only in 1993 after the passing of the Employment of Manual Scavengers and Construction of Dry Latrines Prohibition Act. The preamble to the Employment of Manual Scavengers and Construction of Dry Latrines Act states, whereas fraternity assuring the dignity of the individual has been enshrined in the preamble to the Constitution, and whereas the dehumanizing practice of manual scavenging of human excreta still continues in many parts of the country, and whereas it is necessary to enact a uniform legislation for the whole of India for abolishing manual scavenging by declaring employment of manual scavengers for removal of human excreta an offence and thereby ban further proliferation of dry latrines in the country. The National Human Rights Commission, soon after its establishment in 1993, identified manual scavenging as a serious human rights issue and took up the matter with the central government and various state governments and union territories. It recommended the issue of an early gazette notification specifying the date from which the 1993 Manual Scavenging Act shall come into force and framing rules under that act. It has been reviewing the status of elimination of manual scavenging from time to time. Unfortunately, the legislation is yet to attain countrywide applicability, as some of the states have not adopted the law on the ground that there are no manual scavengers in the state, despite evidence to the contrary. In fact, a public interest litigation was filed by Safai Karamchari Andolan. It is a movement for the elimination of manual scavenging headed by Mr. Bejwada Wilson, a Raman Magsaysay awardee, and some other organizations and individuals in the Supreme Court. It is of great relevance. In this public interest litigation, it was submitted before the court that the existence of dry latrines in various parts of the country was entirely illegal and unconstitutional, an affront to human dignity, violation of fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution, in particular Article 14 guaranteeing equality before law, Article 17 dealing with abolition of untouchability, Article 21 and 23. The Supreme Court was requested to issue time bound directions to the Union of India and various states to take effective steps for the elimination of the practice of manual scavenging, simultaneously with the formulation and implementation of comprehensive plans for rehabilitation of all persons employed as manual scavengers, as well as for the effective implementation of employment of manual scavenging and construction of Dry Latrines Act of 1993. It took almost 3 years and strong admonitions from the apex court to secure response from the state governments and the central government in the form of detailed affidavits. Many of the state governments denied the existence of the practice of manual scavenging. Several affidavits and counter affidavits showing the existence of dry latrines and manual scavenging have been filed before the apex court. The proceedings in the Supreme Court highlighted the indifference of the authorities who tried to downplay a serious issue involving human dignity. According to a report of the Safai Karamchari Andolan, it is unfortunate that apart from private households, organizations of the central government, especially the defense establishments in cantonments and Indian Railways, as well as the local bodies under the state government such as municipal and panchayat institutions, are themselves a major employers of manual scavengers even at present. This is as per the affidavit filed by Safai Karamchari Andolan. The census of 2011 reported a grave observation that there were still around 23 lakh insanitary latrines in the country which were being cleaned by manual scavengers. The parliament was thus compelled to pass the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavengers and the Rehabilitation Act of 2013, which came into force from 6th December 2013. The purpose of this act is to eliminate the insanitary latrines. Each occupier of insanitary latrine shall be responsible for converting or demolishing the latrine at his or her own cost, and if that person fails to do so, the local authority shall convert that latrine and recover the costs involved. The act also provided that prohibition of the employment as manual scavengers, hazardous manual cleaning of sewers, drainages, septic tanks, etc. And the act provided for a survey of manual scavengers and their rehabilitation within a time bound manner. Each local authority, cantonment board and railway authority is responsible for surveying insanitary latrines within their jurisdiction, and in addition construct a number of sanitary community latrines. Some of these main features of the 2013 Act are, like if you look at the definition of manual scavengers and insanitary latrines has been widened to cover not only dry latrines, but also other insanitary latrines as well. Offences under the 2013 Act are cognizable and non-bailable and attract stringent penalties. Vigilance monitoring committees have been proposed at subdivision, district, state and central government levels. The National Commission for Safai Karmacharis has been thought of to monitor implementation of this 2013 Act and inquire into complaints regarding contravention of the provisions of this Act. Provision of construction of adequate number of sanitary community latrines in urban areas within 3 years from the date of commencement of this Act to eliminate the practice of open defecation. The 2013 Act seeks to rehabilitate manual scavengers and provide for their alternative employment. The district magistrate and the local authority are the implementing authorities. Offences under that Act are cognizable and non-bailable and may be tried summarily. The preamble of that act, while noting that, I quote, the dehumanizing practice of manual scavenging arising from the continuing existence of insanitary latrines and a highly iniquitous caste system still persists in various parts of the country, and the existing laws have not proved adequate in eliminating the twin evils of insanitary latrines and manual scavenging. It observes that, I quote again, it is necessary to correct the historical injustice and indignity suffered by the manual scavengers and to rehabilitate them to a life of dignity. The Act defines a manual scavenger as a person engaged or employed at the commencement of that act, that is in December 2013, or at any time thereafter by an individual or a local authority or an agency or a contractor for manually cleaning, carrying, disposing of or otherwise handling in any manner human excreta in an insanitary latrine or in an open drain or pit into which the human excreta from the insanitary latrines is disposed of, or on a railway track, or in such other spaces or premises as the central government or a state government may notify before the excreta fully decomposes in such manner as may be prescribed. Now, let us look at genesis and relevance of the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis. This commission was constituted on 12th August 1994 as a statutory body by an act of parliament called National Commission for Safai Karamcharis Act 1993, initially for a period of 3 years up to 31st March 1997. What does that signify? It shows that the government sincerely believed that manual scavenging could be tackled in 3 years itself, even though now almost 25 years have passed after the setting up of the commission. The practice and the issues associated with it are yet to be fully addressed. Therefore, the validity of this act had to be extended over time. With the lapsing of the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis Act of 1993 with effect from 2004, the commission has been acting now as a non-statutory body of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, whose tenure is extended from time to time through government resolutions. Presently, its term has been extended till 31st of March 2019. The mission of the commission is to abolish the disgraceful and inhuman hereditary occupation of manual scavenging in the country and total eradication of manual scavenging. As per the last resolution of 6th March 2013, the commission is expected to recommend to the central government a specific program of action towards elimination of inequalities in status, facilities and opportunities for Safai Karamcharis. The commission is required to study and evaluate the implementation of the programs and schemes relating to the social and economic rehabilitation of Safai Karamcharis and scavengers in particular, investigate specific grievances and to take suo motu notice of matters relating to non-implementation of programs or schemes in respect of any group of Safai Karamcharis. Decisions, guidelines or instructions aimed at mitigating the hardship of Safai Karamcharis, the measures for social economic upliftment of Safai Karamcharis, the provisions of any law in its application to the Safai Karamcharis and take up such matters with the concerned authorities or with the central or state government. This commission is expected to oversee the implementation of the National Action Plan for total eradication of manual scavenging by the year 2007. It was expected to make periodical reports to the central and state governments on any matter concerning Safai Karamcharis, taking into account any difficulties or disabilities being encountered by the Safai Karamcharis, and the commission is expected to take up any other matter which may be referred by the central government. At the same time, this National Commission for Safai Karamcharis has also been entrusted with the task of monitoring the implementation of the prohibition of employment as manual scavengers and the Rehabilitation Act of 2013. As per section 31(1) of the said act, the commission shall perform a range of functions which include to monitor the implementation of the 2013 act, to inquire into individual complaints regarding contravention, violation of the provisions of the act, and to convey its findings to the concerned authorities with recommendations requiring further action. To advise the central and the state governments for effective implementation of the provisions of the 2013 act, to take suo motu notice of matters relating to non-implementation of this act. In the discharge of these functions, the commission has the powers to call for information with respect to any matter specified above from any government or local or other authorities. What are the operational challenges which this commission faces? One, there are serious challenges with regard to human resources. According to the commission's annual report for 2015-16, as against 27 sanctioned posts for the secretariat of the commission, only 11 persons were in position. That is approximately 41% of the total strength of the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis as on April 2016 was missing. This lack of full sanction strength in the commission has a effect, major impediment on its obligation and responsibility as laid down its mandate for monitoring, liberation and rehabilitation of manual scavenging and implementation of various welfare and upliftment programs of the Government of India for Safai Karamcharis. The vacancies and staff shortages are indeed a huge dilemma, huge predicament, huge problem for an organization with such a huge importance in the country. The commission is mandated to oversee the complete abolition of an inhumane practice which has been prevalent for centuries. How is it expected to fulfill its mandate without staff shortages is something which must be thought over, which must be engage the attention of the government, but there is not much action is forthcoming. Now, let us look at the funding challenges. Funding is another critical aspect relating to the efficiency of this National Commission for Safai Karamcharis. Funds to this commission for meeting its expenditure are provided from the Consolidated Fund of India through the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Budgetary outlay for this commission is reflected under the non-plan head in the ministry. The detailed demands for grants under the minor head direction and administration, there are no statutory provisions regarding accounts and audit for the commission existed in the earlier National Commission for Safai Karamchari Act of 1993. During 2015 and 16, the allocated budget was a mere or as a small sum of 4 crore. This amount is a tiny minuscule when one compares it to the functions of the commission it is expected to discharge. Further, the funding component does not reflect the independence of the commission in as much as its autonomy with respect to framing its own budget is concerned. This is a source of great concern. Now, let us look at the annual reports. This National Commission for Safai Karamcharis Act of 1993 placed an obligation for the preparation of annual reports under the provisions of chapter 4, section 11, and it reads like this: the commission shall prepare in such form and at such time for each financial year as may be prescribed its annual report, giving a full account of its activities during the previous financial year and forward a copy thereof to the central government. As per section 12(1) of the 1993 Act, the central government shall place this annual report before each house of parliament along with a memorandum explaining the action taken or proposed to be taken on the recommendations given by this commission. And the memorandum is also required to explain the reasons for non-acceptance of any recommendation, if any. Annual reports present the working of the commission, and it is a review document. It is very significant as much for its own improvement, but also for the knowledge of the citizens as to the role of this commission. Therefore, it is very important for the annual reports are considered and uploaded on time and actions taken over the recommendations in these reports. Further, the commission must make a point to highlight the difficulty it is facing as well as the activities it can undertake or propose to undertake to fulfill its own mandate. If you look at the annual reports of this commission, basically they reflect the commission's achievements and activities without mentioning what is the future agenda like, what is the proposed plan of action like. The annual reports are also delayed and it is not desirable. The National Commission for Safai Karamcharis also does not have quasi judicial powers. Since the commission has been acting as a non-statutory body, its powers are limited in comparison to other similar bodies which have constitutional status or which have legislative status. Even in its earlier governing act, it did not accord with relevant enforcement powers to this commission. As a result, the commission has made a case for a permanent status with an adequate executive, quasi judicial powers on par with the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes and National Commission for Backward Classes, to enable it to discharge its responsibilities in an effective manner. It has repeatedly stressed on the fact that the policy of zero tolerance for dry latrines and elimination of manual scavenging required strict monitoring and implementation of the mandatory provision under the National Commission for Karamcharis Act, which is a huge mandate requiring such powers, without which it is virtually impossible to effect change. In conclusion, the situation of manual scavengers and Safai Karamcharis projects a multifaceted form of discrimination which requires sustained rehabilitation process so that future generations can escape this terrible, heinous form of atrocities and these inhumane practices associated with this traditional employment. In spite of domestic legal framework which has been introduced for the eradication of this practice of manual scavenging, as well as to rehabilitate and uplift the persons belonging to the castes which have been exploited since ages in this profession, the situation is largely prevailing even today, although it is constantly being hidden under the carpet. The commission, that is the National Commission for Safai Karamacharis, has therefore a huge role in keeping the concerns of the manual scavengers and the Safai Karamacharis in the public eye, as well as to play a watchdog role over the government authorities, which are the foremost violators of their rights. Scientific advancement has to be utilized to upgrade the sanitation system in the country and to prevent such a practice from continuing. However, the government must play a more pragmatic role in equipping the National Commission for Safai Karamacharis with the resources, human, financial and other tools required to fulfill its mandate, which was supposed to do about 2 decades back. Thank you.